Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. Go time. What do you say? It's Monday. Yay! I'm so glad you're all here. Hello. Say hello to the dream team. Of course, you know Amber and Jenny and Lindsay are all behind the scenes right now, except Amber. There she is. We also have Doris in the house. Noreen, good to see you. Alice is here. Yay. Isn't this fun? We're having a good time so far. Hi, Martha. Lovely to have you here. Lisa, Kathy, all of the lovelies. Teresa, missing in action and back. Nice to have you here. Hi, Chris. Good quote for the week. What do you think? The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time you fall. I put failing, but same idea, right? Should be falling. Yeah, that's our theme, isn't it? This is that whole Diana Nyad dealio, isn't it? Hey, Flynn, Susan, good to see you. Joanne and Janine is on the other line with her. Good to have you here. Lovely to see you. It's been a minute. Anyway, good quote for the week. A good one to think about. And if you're one of these people who said to me, and there's been a few, I have a hard time figuring out what to journal about. Well, start there. Start with a quote and let it do its work inside of your brain. See what it concocts as you stir the pot a little bit. Hey there, Jocelyn and Anne. Lovely to have you here today. We have by the way, the supplement of the week last week, which was all that vitamin B, boom, gone. It just out the door. Thanks for helping us take care of all of that. I appreciate that. And I'm glad you all got a really good deal on that. This week, however, we've got Digestymes or Glycozyme. Both are digestive enzymes. Both of them have amazing properties. The Glycozyme has a little extra in there for also helping control blood sugar. So if that's you, a little insulin resistant or diabetic, pre-diabetic, whatever, that's a good one for you. SavingDinner.com/show. That's where you find all the show time, supplements of the week. And if you go to SavingDinner.com/announcements, you will find announcements there. Yeah. How do you like that idea? So we are going to go live right now over there on TikTok. So welcome, TikTok, to the Daily Dish. And welcome to all of you who are here on either YouTube, Facebook, whatever. If you missed any of our announcements, SavingDinner.com/announcements. That's where we put them all. And if you want the show notes, it's really easy. Just go to SavingDinner.com and just subscribe. Free newsletter. And that's where you're going to get today's show notes in tomorrow's newsletter. That's how we roll the whole thing into it. And by the way, who's coming to in-person Full Bloom? See a few faces there that are coming. So I hope that's you. Wouldn't that be fun? This whole week we're going to be talking about, because tonight, tonight it is our free. It is our absolutely 100% free Hot Melt Sprint webinar. I really suggest that you join us. We're going to do it live on Facebook and YouTube. If you're not familiar, it's savingdinner.com or youtube.com/savingdinner, facebook.com/savingdinner. It's going to be live on those two. We can't do it on TikTok yet. We can't figure it out. It's too hard. Just whatever. Because we have this whole beautiful slide presentation that Amber took to the next level, because my slides are really boring. And she's just graphic and does beautiful things. So this whole week, We are talking about building our house, using that metaphor of building our lives into the homes that we really, really want. Now, if you were to go out right now today, if you decided, you say, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go buy a house. This is what I want to do. What is it going to look like when you go to buy a house? And let's say you find one that you like. What do? Just sign a paper and they hand you over papers and say, okay, great. You now own a home. Well, there's a little due diligence that goes into that. And anybody who's bought a house, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because you have to do things in a certain way in order to get somebody to take the papers that says, I own this house, and give it to you so that you now own the house. There's some basic things that need to happen so that you can get yourself into place of being a homeowner. And one of the first things is when you buy a house is that you have to do a survey. Do you know why you have to do a survey? Because you need to know what the boundaries are of the property. You need to know, is this my property or is this his property or her property? We need to know exactly what's the square, what is the frontage? How big is the lot? What are we talking about here? And everything is measured. Everything has, a way of being done. You call people in, specialists that do this, and they do it. They know what to do. They know exactly what to do when it comes to surveying a lot. And they have what they call a plat map. And the plat map has kind of an outline of what the property looks like and what the lines on the property look like, right? And that's where it gets really interesting, because that's where, things get disputed all the time. Years and years ago, when I was in title insurance, oh boy, we had some fun stuff happen with all of that. But you know what the deal is? The survey was everything, because the survey was the thing that everybody went to first, because the boundaries were so important. You cannot figure things out. You cannot even start on anything without having good boundaries in place. So, nobody wants to build a fence. You don't want to be building a fence on what you think is your property and find out $10,000 later that you accidentally encroached and built it on your neighbor's property, right? This is why this whole thing is. Having boundaries in our lives is a foundational issue, and it's a back to basic that we need to start to recognize that if we don't have this basic in place, then there's going to be people who are going to be encroaching all over our lives. They're not going to see that you have a boundary there. They're going to think that the gate is open and they can do whatever the heck that they want to. And that is on you to have the boundary in place. It's not their fault if somebody makes a decision to just kind of walk on over you, because you are the one who needs to be in the place of creating that boundary as the property owner. This is your life we're talking about. And you know what? I'm maybe belaboring the point a little bit, but how important is this? How often do we not put up boundaries and then we act shocked because somebody violates a boundary that has only existed in our heads? We've never said, no, you'll need to quit calling me because I can't volunteer for your fill in the blank. Or you'll have to stop, just dropping by, even to your parents, mom, because I'm really busy with the kids at this time and this does not make sense for me. I need you to honor this for me. How often do we do this? It's very confrontive, isn't it? It's very frightening, and it kind of puts us in this place of just wondering, is this something that I want to be doing? Is it? But without those boundaries, we don't get to the place of setting that foundation for what it is that we want for our lives, and if we're building a house. Boundaries are the very first and most important thing. In the Carousel of Crazy book, which I wrote, and do I even have one right here? No, I don't have one right here. Otherwise, I'd show it to you. But in the Carousel of Crazy book, I shared a Bible verse in there that just absolutely shredded me. It was from a long, long time ago. And it was, Proverbs 14:1, and it was a wise woman builds her house, but a foolish one tears it down with her own hands. Um, she tears it down with her own hands. And to me, that was the yellow flashing lights of Leanne. You're not taking responsibility for your life. And this was, I mean, we're talking 30 years ago, when this really hit me right between the eyes. And I really needed to hear this because that is saying you can go to the place, you can go to this place and you can start building your house, but at the same time, you can start tearing it down with your own hands. And when we understand that we can't do that simultaneously or we'll get nowhere, then that's when we step inside and say, okay, hold on, boundaries are set, and now I need to build the foundation. Because once you have your boundaries, you need to have that foundation, but you can't do that if you start tearing it down already with your own hands. So examining what it is that we're doing as we're building this beautiful, vibrant life that we want to live, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a wise thing to do, as a matter of fact. So let's look at this and let's look at how do we build our houses? How do we build our lives? How do we go to the place of creating the vibrant lives that we want? And I'm using the analogy of this house because it's so important. One, the boundaries. Got to have them. Got to have them, or it could be all over the place with that. Two is foundationally. Got to have that foundation laid, and you got to lay it with your own hands and keep it in place foundationally. So one, boundaries. That's the most important, because what belongs to whom and where one puts one thing and ends another is important. This is what it makes things clear. It separates us from being these kind of people who just think, well, just why don't you just, I don't know, read my mind? How do I turn a situationship into a relationship? What do I say? Well, I say, first start with yourself, right? We have to first start loving ourselves. We first have to put our boundaries down and we have to create our foundation. And once that foundation is created, then we are open for a relationship. But we don't have to chase after that. We just have to be open for it. And if you have to chase it, oftentimes it's not fabulous. You know what I mean? So just hang in there, because this is how things can go. Foundationally, we have to have in place what? Respect, appreciation, trust, commitment. Those are really important things. And, nobody wants to have a situational, casual, whatever. No, I mean, we all want relationships. We want something deep. We want something true. We want something that has the word commitment in it and something that is appreciative and relationship, right? Oriented. We can't have that unless we have that within ourselves first. We're the ones who have to create this. That's the big deal. We are the ones that have to create this. So having all of that in place is going to start getting you and attracting to you the thing that you want. Have you noticed how that works? If we chase after things that we think that we want, and we're trying to squeeze a square peg into a round hole, we often find ourselves in the place of, well, that didn't work out so well, did it? Whereas I find, at least at my age and stage in life, that it seems to me that things kind of fall into place when I have things in place already for myself, when I've already taken the time to build the foundation for myself. The third thing is walls, believe it or not, because walls give you a place of belonging, a place of knowing that this is where I am. This is my space. This is my area. Those walls are there on purpose. Now, there's a couple of different ways that we do our walls, right? We don't do our walls as a way of holding people out. We do our walls as a matter of holding ourselves in. Does that make sense to you? And the reason that I say that is so often we lose ourselves in pursuit of someone else. And then who do we show up as? Are we showing up as ourselves? Or are we just showing up as these desperados who just, wanting something so bad that we're willing to leave our boundaries at the station in the dust, that we're willing to allow the foundation not to be set at all. And then we don't even have one little wall that protects us and gives us our own solid place where we have our own solid footing. And sometimes walls also can be, a place of, like I said, belonging or imprisonment or division. So you have to make those walls according to what works for your life. How do we do that? How do we do that? I think it's a gut thing. I think it's a gut thing of knowing what works for you and what does not. Everything in this life, in my opinion, is a custom job. It has to be. For me to say that you have to spend X amount of time alone and you need to do it this way, that way, I'm giving you my formula for what works for me. You've got to figure out what works for you. This is your life that you're living, your situation and your circumstances. And that's how it's a beautiful thing when we start to embrace our own way of doing things, because otherwise we lose ourselves in this process and we don't become fully who we are. If we don't become fully who we are, we cannot build a house, like we want to. We can't have the vibrancy that we want to. We're not fully skilled. We're not fully adept. We don't have the tools that we need. And this is critical, because you don't want somebody showing up into your home, do you? Who says, yeah, I watched a few YouTube videos and now I'd like to lay the tile floor of your bathroom. That's just not going to happen. What you're going to do is you're going to look for a skilled craftsman. This is somebody who has been educated, who has the experience to put all of this together. And that's what I'm inviting you to do for yourself. Get your education, get your experience in place, and put yourself together in the way that makes sense for you, instead of trying to imitate everyone else. That was a big mind blower for me, by the way. I mean, it took me forever. I thought that I needed to do it just like so-and-so did it, or this celebrity did it, or somebody else did it. And what I didn't see, what I neglected to see, that while the boundaries might always be the same when you're buying a property, whatever you do on your property is going to be different. The way that you lay it out, it's going to be different. Your house is going to look different. You're going to like walls in certain areas that other people are going to say no. Mark and I just had this conversation. We're talking about paint color. When his sister likes really dark colors and we like really light colors. Well, guess what? That's how her house looks. And this is how our house looks. This is how it is. This is how it is when we do these things. And then we also need, what else do we need? We need a roof. A roof protects us from the elements. It protects us from things that are too hot. It protects us from things that are too wet, too cold, and too brutal out there in the world. We all need some kind of protection. And what does a roof do? A roof protects us. A roof is something that makes us feel comfortable, secure, and safe. That's what roofs do. And we have the opportunity to erect a roof over our lives. What is your protection? What's your umbrella? What is the thing that makes you feel safe, comfortable, and secure? Those are the roofs that we put up in our lives, and we all need them. We should never feel ashamed of that, by the way. It's our bravery and our courage shows up in us doing the hard thing anyway. It's not so that we can come out there and just be like, these creatures of just not seeing how, anything is hard or difficult or whatever, and just barreling through. No, we have to look inside of ourselves and see where our bravery and where our courage is coming, so that we're able to step up and take care and slay the dragons in our own lives and have the life that we want, simply by going after what it is that we want. But we don't have to do it in a way where we feel completely naked and unprotected. That's what a roof is for. It makes us feel safe, and it shelters us from many a storm. Number 5 is decorate. When you get a house, I just was mentioning this with my sister-in-law, Lori, who likes the darker colors. She has this beautiful old home in upstate New York, and she's got leather couches and this beautiful formal dining room, and everything about the house is just the beauty of, a beautiful old house and the doorknobs and, the coffered ceiling and all this wonderful stuff. That's what we see in pretty old homes. But that home is each home needs to be decorated according to what the owner wants. If you watch TikTok, I watch a lot of TikTok. Do you watch a lot of TikTok? Let me tell you something. You are going to see a ton of people decorating. What's in, what's hot, what's going out, what's coming in. And, the thing is, what is? Does it matter? Am I going to get rid of my, white farmer's coffee table that I've had for 15 years because farm whatever is out? Probably not. I don't care much about all of that. I have what I have, and you have what you have. And maybe you have stuff all over your walls or nothing all over your walls, or you have it painted a certain color, or you have your certain color throughout your home. I don't know. I have hot pink all over my office because I love hot pink, but I wouldn't put it in my house. Poor Mark would have a heart attack. But that is the thing that we need to do with our lives. We need to look at what makes our lives different. What is it? What's the flavor? How does it taste? How do I want it to look? How do I want it to be, right? I'll tell you, I want it to look like me. I want when people come in, I want them to be comfortable. I want them to feel like they can flop on my couch. I want them to feel like when they walk in the door that they're welcome. That's what I want. And then all the decorating and stuff. Well, we've had this. We'll put this together with that and this together with that. I've never had the urge to just take everything and just go, let's just get rid of it all. But maybe I will one day. But this is what customizing your decorating is all about. We can do the very same thing in our lives. Think about it this way. If we don't like the way something is going, we can change our minds. It's cool. It's like saying, I just don't want any shiplap, don't put any shiplap on my walls. It's like, okay, I've had enough farmer stuff. Get rid of the shiplap, or don't put it on in the first place and do this instead, and you get to do that in your life. What if you determined that the vibrancy that is missing in your life is because maybe you just don't have it decorated right? Maybe it just doesn't turn you on as soon as you open the door. We do the same thing in our lives. We need to have something to look forward to. We need to decorate our lives, ourselves. Do your hair, put on a new, some new clothes, whatever it is. This is how we show up. We're showing up as ourselves, but we're also showing up and radiating the very essence of our being just simply by first impressions. Whether we like it or not, it's just the way it is. So create your own aesthetic for your life, for your home, for your wardrobe, for who you are. Because when we start to get back to the basics of what it is that we want in our lives, we have to recognize there's boundaries to be honored. We have to recognize the foundation needs to be laid. We have to know about putting walls in the proper place and making sure that there's a roof overhead to protect us. And then lastly, we need to get in there and start decorating, because this is your one life. This one life that you have is the one life that you get to take all the way to the nth degree to where you want it. There's no stopping a woman who's made a decision about herself that says, you know what I want? I want everything that I can possibly get. There's nothing wrong with that, because one life, well, if you only have one shot at it and you only have one life, then you need to go after it full, 100%, pinkies up, all in. So speaking of all in, tonight is the night, 7 p.m. Eastern, at facebook.com/saving dinner, or at youtube.com/saving dinner. We'll do things a little bit different today. We have a whole slide presentation and everything. And don't forget, the Hot Meal Sprint is completely free. We'll give you the guide. We'll give you everything there. You just have to show up. If you have any questions, always send me emails, support@savingdinner.com. We will take care of you. How's that? Yay. All right. I appreciate you all. If you missed the announcement, savingdinner.com/announcements. And don't forget, next month at this time, we're almost going to be full blooming it right here at my house. So, hey, go check it out. Get the announcements. Thank you so much for today. I appreciate you all so much. I'll see you tomorrow for Transformational Tip Tuesday. Until then, peace be with you. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.